Welcome, folks. My name is Draft Raw, and if you have been following me or if this is your first time seeing me, I have been doing a 32 for 32 series. That is 32 NFL team drafts for 32 straight days. And if you can tell by the title of this video, this will be about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa. You already know what it is. If pretty much just a quick rundown. I'm in the NFC South right now doing these teams. I've already done the Falcons and the Saints. I've pretty much have already done all the other teams in the North, the East, and the West. So I'm in the South right now. I'm doing the NFC South, and lastly, I will be doing the AFC South. But right now, I'm in the NFC South, and like I said, I'm doing the Buccaneers. And so without further ado, forget all that bullcrap. Let's just get straight into it. With the very first pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers decided to select Tristan Wirfs, offensive tackle / guard from Iowa. Why I say / guard? I think he's a guard. I think he's overrated as a tackle. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think he's a tackle. I believe that Tampa Bay do have, to me, Donovan Smith is not like a crazy good left tackle. But I would use him over anybody else that you have on the team. I don't know what else to say. Like, I would not have Tristan Wirfs be a left tackle in the NFL, like at all. Like I said, he needs to move to guard. Just looking at my notes, this is certain stuff that I liked about him and didn't like about him. So you can choose. You can tell from what I say if I liked what the things I liked and what I didn't like. He lunges a lot instead of using his technique to block. Can get beat on inside, playing the tackle position. Powerful in the run game, but sometimes lowers his head when blocking. So all of those are pretty much negatives, right? Lunges, which is almost the same as blocking when lowering his head. A lot of times what will happen is that if you lower your head, a defensive end or whatever would literally just take your neck and push you down and get to the quarterback. I mean, that's just simple stuff. They just use your leverage against you. Like I said, lunging is also a leverage thing because if you lunge and you miss, that's a quick boom. Get off me. I'm getting to the quarterback. And that tends to for the other thing of getting beat inside. Like lunging, lowering your head, they just got a quick swipe and they're boom, they're inside. Playing the right tackle position, I never understood how this guy, because of the combine, why he was considered one of the top tackles. I mean, I can understand him being one of the top offensive linemen, but not one of the top tackles. And even if, you want to have him as tackle, why in mock drafts and stuff was he the first tackle taken? I still don't understand that. I've even felt like tackle Josh Jones from Houston was a better prospect in terms of being a tackle than Tristan Wirfs. But overall, it still ended up being the way that I thought it should be in terms of the top guy being who it was, and then the next guy, and then the next guy, and then Tristan Wirfs. So it still kind of turned out what I thought it should be, but it was just one of those things where it was just like, this is a little weird of why this guy was considered the number one guy. It just didn't make any sense to me, but it is what it is. So, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Let's just get to the very second pick. The very second pick is the interesting pick because if you would have told me how I rate these prospects, Tristan Wirfs would have been my second round pick. Would have been the second round pick to me. Antoine Winfield is a first rounder to me. To me, this is one of the steals of the draft. I think that you're getting literally the best free safety in this draft in the second round, in the middle of the second round. Winfield Jr. is a very good tackler. He has great range, solid in man-to-man coverage, instinctive, and he's a playmaking safety. There's not a lot of cons. The only biggest cons about him was his height and weight. Like, that's it. And I mean, he's still 200 pounds, but his height was the only con, his length. Everything else, this guy has the ability to play this position and be an absolute monster as a free safety. And I'm gonna just tell y'all this: y'all chose someone that's going to improve y'all defensive backfield tremendously. Last year, y'all went out, y'all got 2 corners that y'all felt as though it'd be really, really good, and they showed out to be pretty darn good. And now y'all got a defensive line that is, improving as it's going along. And now y'all got a guy in that backfield, a guy that's all the way back there at the defensive back position, that free safety position, that has that range to be able to go sideline to sideline and take away the whole deep field, take away everything. And then he has the ability to come down and play man-to-man coverage and be kind of a versatile, like, strong safety type of situation too. This guy brings this crazy athleticism and playmaking ability that's going to be great for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. With the very next pick, they selected running back from Vanderbilt, Keyshawn Vaughn. Good burst through the hole. Good vision, solid speed, solid blocker, shows an ability to break tackles with power. It wasn't like great film that I watched, but it was actually pretty good film. For some people that really rated him as being a bad pick for the Buccaneers at that point in time, I don't think it was as bad as a pick as what like a Cam Akers going to the Rams. I wasn't a big fan of Cam Akers in the second round. I went to the Rams, but Keyshawn Vaughn I think is a really, really good, solid player. That I don't know if I can say he's going to be a starter for y'all team or whatever, but I think that he's an okay, solid player that can give them something. It should be better than Ronald Jones, who I actually was a fan of Ronald Jones and thought he would actually be pretty good, and it turned out not to be that. But he's a guy that can give you kind of a little bit of the opposite of what you got from Ronald Jones. He gives you a little bit more power. With less speed, but a little bit more power, and the vision that he has is pretty darn good as well. With the very next pick in the 5th round, they decided to select, Tyler Johnson, wide receiver, Minnesota. Big body wide receiver, with a huge catch radius. Not much of a route runner. A lot of times you'll see him round off his route to just kind of run to a spot. Not really kind of, using, his head fakes or shoulders or the hips or just quickness of the feet. Really didn't do that. Solid and willing blocker. Played a lot in the slot, a lot of slants and seam routes, and he's a hands catcher though. His whole thing was that he was a big slot guy, and seeing as though you already have Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, then bringing in a guy like Tyler Johnson that you could put in the slot gives you another big target like a Mike Evans, and gives you a guy that, like I said, it's almost like a tight end, but it's a lot of slants and it's a lot of seam routes, and you're getting a tough, big-bodied receiver that can make these huge, big-time catches for your team and help out, especially Tom Brady, with the things that he can do. It gives him a player just like a Gronk, and then on top of that, you already have like a Cameron Brate and O.J. Howard, I guess, but you have Rob Gronkowski, so it gives Tom Brady a lot more weapons that he can have and that he can push for. But he's a very, very solid receiver, Tyler Johnson. With the very next pick, y'all decided to select Nebraska defensive lineman Khalil Davis. And why defensive lineman? Because he played both inside and outside. But the thing is that he really didn't have a motor. It seemed like he gave up on plays when he initially didn't get to the spot that he wanted to be at. Gets tired, and maybe that's the reason why he doesn't have no motor. Plays edge, but definitely should be a defensive tackle, like I've already said. Can shoot gaps quickly. Needs to add more strength to his bull rush. A lot of times when he was bull rushing, he wasn't really getting anywhere. He was kind of just getting stonewall. He's more of the guy where he'll get the sack off of a QB scramble. Like, he'll just be there. He'll shed real quick to get to the quarterback. He can shoot gaps, which is pretty darn good, but, and that's the only other way he can get to the quarterback, but it has to be perfect timing for him to do it. Khalil, average, even though he was more athletic than his twin brother, Carlos Davis, it was still just some average limitations from both players that, which is the reason why they were both later round picks. Just overall, he's just an average player. Like I say, he's a 6th round, but I talk about these guys as like the possibility of being starters. So I just want to say he's not really a starter. I don't know exactly if he's going to ever become really solid player, but I know there is some prototypical traits about him and attributes that he has that if with some coaching up, maybe he become a better player than where he was drafted and what we think he is. With the very next pick, y'all decided to select linebacker from Temple, Chappelle Russell. And it's kind of weird because this guy was a single digit number guy at Temple. But I wasn't feeling him, like, at all. He was an average guy. You could see, like, he had some speed, but it was like, he's faster than some of these, like, thumper linebackers, but he wasn't, like, in that top speed range from, like, with the Kenneth Murrays and the Patrick Queens and the Jordan Brooks type of speed. He was more like a Malik Harrison type of speed, where he wasn't really slow, but he wasn't, like, crazy fast. And when you don't have, like, natural instincts, and then when you're not, like, an aggressive, like, I'm gonna take on a block type of guy, it kind of hurts you in a way. And I just don't know what to think about him. But he was a 7th round pick anyway, so it's not much to really say, like, oh yeah, he's a surprising pick that can be a starter. But he's an okay pick. I mean, it just adds pretty much special teams value. With the very last pick, y'all select a running back also that from Louisiana Lafayette that I actually liked a little bit, like pretty good much. It was just kind of. It was like y'all selected Keyshawn Vaughn, and then y'all selected Raymond Calais. Calais. The S is silent. I remember watching it and listening to watching this film and listening to the broadcast sound or whatever, and they said Raymond Calais, I think it was. I can't really pronounce his last name like that, but change of pace running back, plays fast and he plays aggressive. He was it was very surprising because he was a smaller guy, that change of pace smaller guy that catch the ball, and he didn't play a lot actually. In terms of snaps played this past season, he played over 150 snaps. But the other seasons before that, he didn't play more than like 60 snaps or something like that, which was kind of weird. But he's still a good change of pace guy, and he plays fast and aggressive. He can actually become a better player in the NFL than he was in college. Coronavirus is going to hurt it a good amount, but this is still a solid pick and a solid player, definitely for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Anyway, that was the last pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you like this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see more, please hit that subscribe button. If you want to know about any future or past video, look in that description box below. Please share. And please hit that notification bell to see all notifications that come up. And to see all notifications, you got to hit all and not personalized. Make sure you hit all so you can see every single thing. Once again, my name is Draft Raw. I thank anybody for watching. Goodbye.